Welcome to PVT Express News. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new videos. And now, here's today's content. In today's film and television industry, many actors fight desperately to prove their talent. Some rely on explosive emotional breakdowns, others depend on screaming scenes, dramatic crying, or exaggerated expressions to convince audiences they can act. In an era where a single tear can become a trending topic overnight, emotional intensity is often mistaken for great performance. But Tan Songyun walks a completely different path. She never forces the audience to notice her acting. She never seems to say, "Look at me. Look how emotional this scene is." Instead, something far more powerful happens. Viewers slowly forget they are watching an actress at all. When the camera focuses on her, it doesn't feel like a performance. It feels like a real person quietly living her life in front of us. Her smiles never seem designed for the screen. They are not polished idle expressions created to appear cute or charming. And when she is sad, she does not collapse into the dramatic, overproduced breakdowns so common in television dramas. Her emotions are restrained, natural, and deeply human. She behaves the way ordinary people behave in real life, quietly carrying pain, silently enduring disappointment, gently hiding vulnerability. And somehow, that softness hits harder than exaggerated emotion ever could. This is why many viewers finish one of her dramas with an unusual reaction. Instead of saying, "Tan Songyun acted so well," they often say, "That character felt so real." That difference matters. Because the highest level of acting is not making audiences admire the actor. It is making them believe completely in the character's existence. Truly great actors disappear into the role, and Tan Songyun possesses that rare ability. One of the first things people notice about her is her youthful aura. She has an incredibly natural sense of youthfulness that never feels artificial. It does not come from heavy beauty filters, forced cuteness, or attempts to act younger than her age. It simply exists within her naturally. Because of this, many people once assumed she could only play cheerful teenage roles or innocent young women. Some critics even believed her appearance was too soft and delicate for mature, emotionally heavy characters. But talented actors are never limited by appearance alone. For every role, Tan Songyun reshapes herself from the inside out. She studies not only how a character looks, but how they move, think, and exist in the world. During filming, she has reportedly adjusted her sleep schedule, changed her eating habits, and carefully altered her physical behavior to match a character's emotional state. Sometimes she redesigns the rhythm of her speech. Sometimes she changes the way a character walks. Even eye contact becomes part of the role. Because she understands something many actors overlook, a character's soul is hidden in the details. Anyone can wear the costume. Anyone can memorize dialogue. But making a character feel alive requires something deeper. That is why audiences believe her whether she plays a bright young girl experiencing first love or a mature woman carrying years of emotional scars. She is not imitating age. She is understanding life itself. And perhaps her greatest strength is silence. Many actors rely heavily on dialogue to communicate emotion. The moment the script becomes quiet, the character loses energy. But Tan Songyun often becomes most powerful when she says nothing at all. A pause. A trembling expression. A distant look in her eyes. That alone can completely break an audience's heart. Because real pain is rarely loud. In real life, people often become quietest when they are hurting the most. True despair is not always dramatic screaming or collapsing to the ground. Sometimes it is emptiness. Sometimes it is exhaustion. Sometimes it is pretending everything is fine while silently falling apart inside. Tan Songyun understands this emotional reality deeply, and that understanding gives her performances extraordinary weight. This acting style is actually very risky. Without exaggerated expressions or dramatic gestures, even a slightly false emotion can feel flat and lifeless. But when done correctly, restrained acting becomes devastatingly powerful. And she does it exceptionally well. Many viewers notice this during her crying scenes. She rarely cries loudly. She rarely performs emotional pain in a theatrical way. Instead, she often looks like someone trying desperately not to cry. And somehow, that restraint hurts even more. Because pain that is endured quietly often feels heavier than pain that is openly released. In an entertainment industry obsessed with youth, many actors live in fear of aging. They desperately hold on to youthful roles or try to hide the passing of time. But Tan Songyun seems remarkably calm about it. She understands that audiences do not truly connect with numbers or appearances. They connect with emotional truth. A convincing character is not created by looking young or mature. It is created by understanding how a person thinks and feels at different stages of life. How does someone view love when they are young? How do they face responsibility as they grow older? How does grief change a person? How does loss reshape someone's personality? These are the questions she appears to explore in her performances. As a result, audiences stop thinking about her age entirely. They simply believe the emotional logic of the character. And perhaps that emotional realism comes partly from life itself. The most moving performances often carry traces of genuine human experience. Actors who have truly experienced pain frequently bring a different depth to emotional scenes. Tan Songyun herself has endured profound personal loss in life, yet she never turned that pain into public spectacle or media publicity. Instead, she carried it quietly. But audiences could feel the change in her later performances. There was more loneliness in her eyes. More restraint. More understanding of emotional exhaustion and hidden grief. Scenes involving heartbreak, separation, or silent suffering suddenly felt even more authentic because they no longer seemed imagined. They felt understood. Sometimes she can sit silently in a scene without speaking a single word, yet her eyes alone seem to contain an entire story. That kind of emotional depth cannot be manufactured through technique alone. It comes from experience, observation, and emotional intelligence. Great actors transform life into art. And Tan Songyun does exactly that. Another reason audiences respect her is her dedication to character preparation. In today's industry, many performers choose projects based mainly on popularity, publicity, or market trends. Viral potential often matters more than storytelling. But Tan Songyun appears to focus first on the character itself. She studies backgrounds carefully. She analyzes upbringing, emotional history, habits, fears, and motivations. She asks herself how the character would truly live if they existed in reality. For certain roles, She is willing to learn entirely new skills or habits simply to make the portrayal more believable. Because she does not want the character to resemble herself, she wants the character to become real. That level of immersion is exhausting for any actor. Constantly entering new emotional worlds requires repeatedly emptying yourself and rebuilding someone else from scratch. Yet she continues to do it with remarkable sincerity. And audiences notice. Not because she constantly talks about her hard work, but because the results naturally appear on screen. In modern entertainment culture, dramatic acting clips are often heavily marketed. A single crying scene can trend online for days. One intense stare can be labeled God-tier acting by promotional campaigns. But Tan Songyun rarely seems interested in creating those moments artificially. She does not compete aggressively for attention. She does not constantly seek the spotlight or turn every emotional scene into a publicity event. Ironically, that quietness makes her even harder to ignore. Because while trends fade quickly, authentic characters remain in people's memories. That is why many viewers experience something unusual after finishing her dramas. They begin the story fully aware they are watching Tan Songyun, but by the end, they no longer see the actress at all. Only the character remains. And for any actor, that may be the greatest achievement possible. Some people say an actor's biggest failure is when audiences remember only the celebrity behind the role. Their greatest success is when viewers completely believe the character exists independently from the performer. Tan Songyun belongs firmly in the second category. She does not need to dominate headlines every day. She does not need constant validation or endless attention. What she truly pursues is not fame for herself, but life for the characters she portrays. That is an increasingly rare artistic belief. In a world where visibility is everything, she reminds audiences that true acting is not about being the loudest person in the room. It is about creating someone so emotionally real that viewers forget they are fictional. And when audiences stop seeing Tan Songyun and start believing completely in the character before them, she has already succeeded. Please join the discussion. Feel free to leave comments. Welcome to my channel. Thank you all.